All right, we actually have some football news, a few things to talk about. As we have said before in previous sessions, there was kind of a bit of a exodus as far as LSU football's um, assistant coaches and analysts go. They lost Jorge Munoz, who followed Coach Aranda to Baylor, as did Dennis Johnson. Blaine Gutierrez, who went to McNeese State. Kenichi Udez went to Vanderbilt. And Ronnie Wheat went to Nevada.
And of course, we all know Joe Brady went to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, Brady went to the Panthers. What Coach O has done, has hired since then Bo Pelini. Has brought over former Saints and Tulane assistant Carter Sheridan. Sanford offensive coordinator Russ Galloway, Youngstown State defensive coordinator Donald DeAncelio, who was the defensive coordinator under Bo Pelini at Youngstown State.
And they also brought over Tyler Tittleton as well, who's had experience all around. He actually used to coach with Jimmy Burrow, Joe Burrow's dad, at Ohio.
And he also has spent time in the Canadian Football League. So some experience there.
And he also spent some time with the Cleveland Browns as well.
And I believe he was a graduate assistant under Lincoln Riley.
He was. And he was also the quality control coach for the 2019 season for the Cleveland Browns. So a lot of experience that Coach O is bringing onto the coaching staff. A little bit of familiarity, if that's how you say it. Mm-hmm. Bringing in a guy like Donald D'Alessio, who served with Coach Pelini, give him a little comfort, because Coach Pelini, though he used to, serve as defensive coordinator at LSU, he's coming back. It's a brand new era. It's a different time. And so I feel that bringing a familiar face with him was something that would help him be able to adapt himself back to SEC play.
Yeah. And it does seem like Coach O is turning back to the NFL to find a replacement for Coach Brady, the passing coordinator. I forget the guy's name, but they interviewed someone over the weekend. He ended up turning the job down. But Coach O still looking for that NFL offense to run here with the LSU Tigers.
Well, I think that having Coach Brady over, I think that could be like, I would call the spearhead for LSU to run the spread for a very long time. They got the talent to do it. And I believe that hopefully Coach Ensminger took some things from Coach Brady, that he learned some things on how to be able to run this LSU offense, how to maintain success for the offense as well. So I believe that even if we don't have Coach Brady, we get somebody else in, we keep the spread offense. Coach Ensminger keeps his game plan going. He might have to tweak a few things, but basically we keep down the path that we're going. LSU is going to be able to be dominant. I mean, like I tell people all the time, LSU has the talent. They have the potential to have a dynasty, bring a dynasty to Baton Rouge. I mean, Bama never kept the same coaches for 10 years. They never kept the same players for 10 years. I mean, things change every single year. So if LSU is able to adapt to change like they have before, LSU could be dominant for the next 5 to 10 seasons.
Yeah. Some people are already starting to doubt LSU and their ability as to whether or not they can return to the title game. And I understand they did lose a lot of talent. However, if you ask me, they're in the best position to, at the very least, get back to the championship game this time around than any of the other 4 teams. Although, well, I almost say any of the other 4 teams they got there. The 59 team came 1 win shy of repeating, so that has been the best chance that they've had so far of actually repeating. But in comparison to the 03 team, the 07 team, and even the 2011 team, which obviously lost the title game, but never really competed with the opportunity to get back to the title game.
And I think this is the best team to do it. I mean, this LSU team going to next season is coming in with a huge chip on their shoulder. And look, last year's LSU team, they surprised a lot of people going 15-0, and the way they did it. And so, looking at LSU's production this past season, you cannot put anything past them this year. So, I mean, if you look in the national title race, then you cannot count out the LSU Tigers, considering who they got coming back and considering the recruiting class coming in.
Well, in comparison to the previous teams to make the title game this century, really, the 04 team lost a lot of players from the secondary. A lot of the receiving core was gone. Their top two receivers, Devery Henderson and Michael Clayton, declared for the draft. Matt Mock left, after his junior season. Almost the entire offensive line, and that offensive line was, even though this past year the offensive line was fantastic, that offensive line was absolutely dominant.
Oh, most definitely. That was the first Great Wall of Louisiana, if you ask me.
And Whitworth is still playing.
Still in. I mean, and that's that's astounding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the same thing with the 07 team. They lost a lot of players. Their receiving core was decimated. I would say they lost a lot of the secondary on that team too. A lot of seniors, a lot of early classmen left. And the 2012 team never had a chance. Mettenberger took almost an entire year to develop into a starter. The 2013 team was when they really came together. That was, Jeremy Hill, OBJ, Jarvis Landry, which they had all those players in 2012 too. But again, like I said, Mettenberger took some time to develop into a starter and get in the rhythm with those.
I mean, Mettenberger, he showed flashes of what he was capable of doing, and I do believe that he is a good quarterback, but he never really lived up to his full potential at LSU, and I think that just goes back to coaching. I mean, Les Miles was not ready to adapt to change.
No.
It all went downhill from there. Anthony Jennings, then Brandon Harris, and oh Lord, Danny Edling. Oh,
what makes this team different in 2020 is that you have your top two receivers coming back. Well, two of your top three. Jamar Chase is coming back. Jamar Chase is a top 5 pick talent.
What about Terrence Marshall?
Terrence Marshall is returning. Justin Jefferson is declared early and reasonably so. Good for him. Even though Clyde Edwards-Helaire declared early and he is not coming back and he was the workhorse of the running game last year, you still have 3 really talented running backs coming back who got... 2 of them got significant snaps last year, and I say significant with quotations.
I have a lot of high hopes for John Emery going to this season, and the off season is going to really determine it. And I'm going to really pay a lot of close attention to the spring game, and I believe that's where John Emery is going to have to earn it.
The biggest question, as we've previously talked, is going to be on the linebacking core, as they lost all 4 of their top linebackers. Defensive line has some good guys coming back. Logan's returning. Shelvin's returning. Neil's returning. Neil Farrell. And a lot of really good guys coming in, too. And they also are trying to chase after this guy who is currently committed to South Carolina. That 5-star defensive lineman that they're currently after. I guess with the hopes
and I think they have a defensive lineman coming in from Alexandria High School. I believe he's a 5-star.
Yeah, he just got his 5th star.
Yeah, and this guy is a beast. So I'm very excited for him to come into LSU, and I do see him getting immediate playing time.
But then again, you have to also, while it was great to get these 4- and 5-star guys in, the star system just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter really. In the end, it still comes down to execution and being able to play at the next level. Just because you do well in high school doesn't mean you can do well in college. Just because you do well in college does not mean you can do well in the pros.
And I mean, it's true. I mean, when you get into college, all your high school accolades, they're out the window. Like when you get into the pros, all your college accolades, they go out the window. I mean, you could be a Heisman winner, but end up being a bust in the league. I mean, look at Johnny Manziel, prime example.
Manziel was pretty much dead on arrival because
he got Cleveland.
Well, not just Cleveland. He partied too much, man. He did not take practice seriously. He did not attend the meetings. He was late for meetings.
And I remember his very first start when he went up against Cincinnati. And, there are plays you can get away with on the college level, but those same plays you could turn the ball over, get sacked, get hurt on the professional level. And I saw shades of what he was trying to do, like against Cincinnati, that he did back when he was at A&M, and Bengals just sniffed him out that game.
Yeah. A lot of the plays, like you said, the recklessness that he was able to get away with in college did not transfer well over to the pros, nor did his party life. So, we're out of time for this segment, and come back, we'll start talking a little bit more about LSU basketball, both men's and women. Welcome back to Cajun Connection. We're going to talk some b-ball. Anywho,
I'm gonna grab a belt and I'm gonna come over there and whip you. I'm gonna come over there and make MLK proud for a second.
Gotta do something to keep this thing interesting.
Whatever you say, man.
Well, they certainly are showing up for your face.
I will throw this at you.
Okay, women's basketball. Let's start there. That seems to be a little bit more controversial and a little bit more diversity as far as facts go. So the women's currently sit at 16-5 overall. 6-3 in the SEC. They have currently won, I want to say, 4 of their last 5 games, so that's good.
And they picked up their 3rd ranked victory this season when they knocked off Texas A&M in a late thriller this past Sunday.
Yeah, speaking of knocking off their 3rd, or their whatever ranked team, I don't know. They're kind of iffy this year against ranked teams. They're 4-3 overall, having beaten Michigan State, Texas A&M twice, and then Kentucky, while losing to Florida State, Michigan State, and lo and behold, their old rival Tennessee.
Well, I mean, they lost. Well, yeah, they had lost to Tennessee. But I mean, a lot of these games, these were close games. So I mean, LSU has the ability to be able to hang with the higher ranked teams, and I just think we're going to find out how good these girls really are when they enter conference, the conference tournament. But I mean, the girls. I mean, a few more wins, they'll be a lock for an at-large bid, considering their resume.
Yeah, I have no doubt that they'll reach the tournament, like you said, as an at-large bid, but
I mean, and they could possibly make a run for the title. I mean, but that's easier said than done because you got to go through teams like Mississippi State, of course, Kentucky, A&M, Tennessee, and oh Lord behold, let's not forget about big bad South Carolina, who tends to have everybody's number this year.
Yeah, there's been some improvement from the girls. The rest of the team did seem to step up when Ayanna Mitchell injured her leg, if I understand correctly, at least according to the Advocate, that's what happened. Whether or not that's true, I'm not sure. I don't see why the Advocate will lie about that.
But I mean, I do see. And the next game they're going against Missouri, who's 5-17, who's struggling, and that game is going to be at the PMAC. LSU, like I said, it's not the same team that we've always been accustomed to years ago, but I do believe that they are taking one step at a time to get back to relevance, to get themselves back on the map. So I mean, that's just something we'll have to wait and see, I would say.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know. They've been a little inconsistent against the higher ranked teams. Like I said, 4-3 on the season. I don't think they have any more left on the schedule, at least not.
Well, they actually got they got Missouri on February 10th. I mean, they're not a ranked team, but their next ranked opponent will be on the 13th against 23 Tennessee. That's going to be at the PMAC. After that, February 20th, anybody in the Louisiana area, well, it's not going to be at the PMAC. Mark your calendars. LSU takes on the number 1 team in the country, South Carolina, on the 20th. And then they'll take on number 25 Arkansas on March 1st. If you want to see how good this LSU team is, I would say go ahead and watch the South Carolina game. That's the best team in the country. They have unlimited talent, and this is where LSU is going to find out how good they really are.
Yeah. Okay, men's basketball doing a little bit more better. A little bit more, but
well, they're starting to put opponents away.
Surprisingly, they're 16-5 overall.
17-4.
17. Okay, I don't know. That's women. 17-4 overall. They recently climbed up to number 18 in the polls, and they're 8-0 in the SEC. Now, I want to sit here and say things. I'm impressed that they have responded the way they have to their recent success. Because last year they started 7-0 in the SEC, and then they lost to a mediocre Arkansas team, 89-90.
I remember that game.
This time around, they defeated Alabama 90-76, and then recently defeated Ole Miss 73-63. Now, the reason why I want to bring that up is because they had previously won 6 straight by a collected total of 15 points, winning no game by more than 4.
And it's like, in the past couple of games, we've actually seen LSU start to be able to put their opponents away, like Alabama and Ole Miss, on how they're winning by double digits. And here's the thing with Ole Miss, I watched the Ole Miss game, and LSU was up by 20 at the half. And then within 3 short minutes, Ole Miss was able to cut the lead to 8. And how LSU was able to respond, getting their lead back up to 15 and 16 points, it just shows that they know how to be able to put teams away, in the later parts of the game. And that's just something that LSU has to be able to keep their foot on the gas pedal. And that's the same problem we had with LSU football. I think it was not this past season, but last season. They had a hard time keeping their foot on the gas pedal.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I really like what Will Wade is doing with LSU. He seems to be able to get his team going at the right time. We'll see what they do. I have no question that they're going to make the tournament. It's a matter of where in the positioning, and also what team shows up at that point and how far can they get. I do believe that they are at the very least a Sweet 16 again. I do see them getting to that third round of the NCAA tournament. Whether or not they can get past that, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I can see this LSU team doing it, but LSU has a tough stretch coming up. I mean, they got Vanderbilt tomorrow. It's going to be at Vandy, and those who keep up with college basketball, Vandy is not doing so well under Jerry Stackhouse. But after Vandy is when that tough stretch is really going to start. They got to go to Auburn, and Bruce Pearl has those guys locked and loaded. Auburn just came off a huge victory against Kentucky this past Saturday night. They got Missouri. They got to go to Alabama, and then they got Kentucky coming to the PMAC led by Coach Calipari. And Kentucky has improved immensely. Though they lost to Auburn, Kentucky is still a very dangerous team. So LSU is going to really find out. We're going to really find out how good these guys are over these next 5 to 10 games.
So, I have to say, I expect both men's and women's basketball to make the NCAA tournament. Should be exciting. I'll be honest, I have higher hopes and higher expectations for men's right now than I do women's.
Same here. I mean, I definitely agree with you.
I need to see more consistent out of the women's team before I can really develop a true confidence that they can progress in the NCAA tournament. But we'll end that segment here, and then we'll finish up our show, which is going to be a little bit on the short side today because football is officially done.
I miss football.
I think football is the only sport where you can actually have a triple-digit day countdown and people actually keep up with it.
That's true.
if you start a 100-day countdown with something like, baseball, people are gonna look at you like, dude, it's 100 days away. What the hell are you doing? Anyway, see you back in the next segment when we actually talk a very surprising Pelicans team. Zion Williamson in the house. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, what am I going to do with this guy right here? What am I going to do with you? That's the question.
So the Pelicans are actually a bit of an exciting team now.
A little bit. They're getting a little more exciting. They have a game tonight against the really tough Bucks, who are 42-7. They have the best record in all the NBA. Still can't win a 7-game series, but they have the best record.
Shots taken, sir. All right.
Yeah, shots taken.
So Brandon Ingram has officially made the All-Star game.
Pelicans finally have an all-star. Brandon Ingram has had an amazing season. I was surprised that he was able to get in over Devin Booker, honestly, from the Phoenix Suns. I mean, Devin Booker is averaging, 26, 27 points a game? I mean, Brandon Ingram, he's averaging about 25 points a game, around 6 rebounds a game. He's leading the team in both points and rebounds. So, Brandon Ingram has definitely improved his game since leaving LA and coming to New Orleans. So is Lonzo Ball. I mean, having Zion Williamson finally on the court, I'm excited for this Pelicans team.
Williamson is obviously behind the rest of the team, having been out with an injury for a while. But, I mean, from what I've seen of him, which is still not much, are they still holding him out minute limits?
I think they are. He hasn't been getting a whole lot of minutes. I mean, I could look at the box score from the Houston game to see how many minutes he had.
Well, I know they've been trying to ease him in, which is actually different from what they had been, like in the past.
Well, Zion Williamson, when he played the last game against the Rockets where they lost 117-109, Zion Williamson had 33 minutes. He had 21 points, 10 rebounds, and in 33 minutes. So,
from what I've seen from him, he's actually very exciting to watch. He's made some very impressive plays. I did see recently when he made a basket, the ball was going out of bounds. Like, he caught it in air and went underneath the goal and made the layup.
He is I consider Zion Williamson the eighth wonder of the world. He's a once in a lifetime talent. And I believe that the Pelicans, the ball's in the Pelicans' court. If they play their cards right, of course, Zion Williamson is going to be he's going to be the face of the franchise. He already is. But he's also going to be there, Anthony Davis at one point was face of our franchise, but we wasn't able to keep him. He had wanted to leave. Play your cards right. Zion Williamson's not going to want to leave New Orleans. He can spearhead years of dominance for the Pelicans in the Western Conference. But, that's why I believe the Pelicans brought in David Griffin.
Yeah. Also, the Pelicans do have a number of first-round and second-round picks over the next 4 or 5 seasons, and which they can probably get creative with. I don't see them holding on to all those picks. I think they can probably move them around to get either some higher picks or
some veterans
or some better veteran players in. But you've essentially got the essential makings right here of your own big three with Jrue Holiday,
Zion
Williamson, and Brandon Ingram. Yeah, and then you have obviously Lonzo Ball's coming along. Josh Hart, he's good. Okafor, he's really played better with the Pelicans. Veterans like JJ Redick. This could be a very even an elite team in the future.
I'm looking forward to and it's not like this year. I really thought I didn't think the Pelicans were going to be elite this year, even as Zion had played the whole season, because I knew there was going to be a lot of growing pains having a bunch of new guys on the team. That these guys having to get used to a brand new system in New Orleans. A lot of these guys haven't played together for a long time, so I knew there was going to be growing pains, but I know that eventually the Pelicans are going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they are going to show the NBA that they can be elite and that this team can win.
Yeah. I can see them making a late push for the 8th seed.
I can see. I'm not surprised that right now they're 20-30. I don't know where exactly they are at in the Western Conference, but there's still 31, 32 games left in the season. And I could definitely see the Pelicans, it's going to be a tough stretch. They got to play the Bucks tonight, and it's going to be a grind, and then they're going to need some help from other teams.
Yeah.
But I do see them making a very dangerous push. Like we can see one of the most dangerous teams in the West, one of the hottest teams in the West within the next 10 to 12 games.
Yeah. I would not want to play them as the eighth seed.
Definitely not. I mean, if the Pelicans, all right, if they were to make 8th seed, I would. I mean, and of course, I'm pretty sure number 1 seed is going to be the Lakers, most likely. That would probably be the best series in the NBA right there. I mean, Anthony Davis going against his former team. Imagine having to deal with your former team for 7 whole games, if it gets that far.
I was about to say, you see that going 7 games?
No, definitely not. I don't see it going 7 games. I mean, I can see the Pelicans fighting them, but I mean, if the Pelicans were to put up a pretty good fight, I could see Lakers winning it in 6. If the Pelicans want to beat the Lakers, you're gonna have to go 7.
Well, yeah, absolutely. No question about that. I'm just trying to sit here and think, like, what can they do to continue to improve? Because like the players seem to be there for the core of a very strong team. They got the picks to build on. Don't really have the cap money. That's the thing. They're a small market team, and they will continue to be a small market team going into the future.
That's something that, I mean, of course, the Pelicans can't really control at this point. But I think if they want to get better, I just believe they have to just continue to work on their consistency, being able to finish games. And I noticed that's something that the Pelicans have had a hard time doing, is finish games and capitalize off opportunities.
Yeah.
Because the Pelicans, they've been in a lot of close and a lot of competitive games to where they haven't been able to finish. Like, I mean, against teams like the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Rockets. So consistency and being able to finish are my 2 biggest notes for the Pelicans.
Well, we should see how they continue to progress. I do believe they will probably and most likely finish strong. Or at least that's my hope. They look like they are starting to come together better as a team, and especially as Zion Williamson starts to find his footing, I think that will also help. But that is basically the end of our show. We'll see you next week. Do this.